Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. And I just want to say thank you guys for spending your morning with me here at 8:45 in the morning. And I will be live every day the market is open, giving you guys some RSI trade setups, usually from the day before. So a lot of these will be day trades, but I'll also throw in a couple swing trades. I'll mix in some commodities every once in a while. And then I'll also throw in some crypto. All right. So here we go. It says I'm having issues, but all right. So the first thing I want to go over is the trade from Friday. Last Friday was Jack in the Box. Let's go ahead and do the RSI recap for the trade of the day yesterday. Friday. So here's the chart of Jack in the Box. I was mentioning to you guys that the RSI had stayed extremely strong throughout the full day. And then I was anticipating the price action of Jack in the Box to head up to $22.17. Normally, I don't look for quite a big move. This was about a 5% move higher off of where the high was. However, it decided that it wanted to fade. And I was saying, it could pull back 3 to 5%. And then look at this fall on Jack in the Box. So Jack in the Box had a 8.5% fall after a big move down. Unfortunately, it didn't give us any additional information or confluence to say that, okay, so now it's time to switch to a short or continue short or to go long. The RSI action just kind of stayed muted. Not a whole lot of movement and not a whole lot of price action. And so when that stuff like that happens, you got to kind of just stay away from it and move on to another chart setup. There are so many different setups throughout the days that, if one doesn't play out, that's okay. We'll look at a different day. So actually, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into another chart setup. So here's a chart of ARRY. I want you to see this price action for several days. This is a 1-minute chart. Look at this. I just noticed this the other day. Look at this price action that happened on ARRY. This has been a really strong stock. So if you guys are in ARRY and we switch back to the daily time frame, this tells you that the price action of ARRY could go all the way up to about $8.30, $8.88, this high pivot point, because we haven't recaptured the 70 or gotten to an overbought condition on the RSI for our ARRY. Intraday, however, you're looking, okay, so there's some decent volatility, about 4% moves on the downside. So if you catch this perfectly, if you catch the top at 70 and we're getting a decent run from the lows and you get this price action above, then this could be a great shorting opportunity. Let's say it gets up to $8. It's a whole round number. And the RSI is above 70, and then putting in a little bit of RSI divergence. ARRY could be a good short based on the recent price action or the recent movement. You'll notice you get a 3 to 4% possible pullback, 5% move higher. So if you were thinking about playing RRY on a short, I would look for about 2.5 to 3% as far as a pullback. This would be a scalp. This wouldn't be a day trade. Or you could wait until what happens throughout the rest of the day. As you can see, it has been strong and it's never gotten to the oversold condition to switch that up. Okay, so the other one I wanted to go over is Link, just briefly. So here was what I was mentioning. You've got this beautiful RSI price movement or RSI movement, good price movement that corresponds exactly with the relative strength index. And then look at the movement. You get a 25% dip, 60% bounce, 15% dip. So the relative strength index is indication. It gives you an indication of what's going to happen. And so I said, if you're looking to take profits, $25.16 would be a great area to take profits. Now for a shortable level, because it is given negative RSI divergence, this doesn't necessarily mean that this is the top for Link, especially with this price consolidation right underneath this resistance. And so what you do is you would look for another resistance level. So you could look for this pivot top right here at 27.27, or you could go all the way up and retag double top. So it doesn't happen often where price action breaks this. It usually gets pretty close to it, or it either goes really close to it and gets a pullback, or it gets really overly extended, probably gets up to about $32 before a pullback. And the reason that is because one of the things that price action likes to do, it likes to overextend itself on one direction or another, or if it stops short, it's so that way the institutions can pause it at a level, and if it starts flushing out, then a lot of sellers get scared that, oh my gosh, they missed their opportunity to exit, and so it flushes it down as well, and so then institutions can then buy it back up at a lower price. So it's either that, or if there's a lot of stops at or right at a particular level, they'll run the stops, get everybody out, and then they'll start flushing it out. So they just kind of little mind games that that the institutions play. All right, let's go ahead and go into a couple more. Here's a chart of Lyft. Lyft had a great day the other day. It did have some good good RSI action. I was actually hoping that the price of Lyft would stay above the 30. As you can see, it chopped around the 30 and then kind of came back in. So even though throughout the rest of the day, it said, okay, this is a really strong stock, it has the potential to bounce the following day. Today, unfortunately, it did get a little bit of a pullback late in the afternoon. And so right now, if we failed to get above $16.11, then Lyft is probably coming into about 15.38, and then could even get to this 15.07 level. All right, the other one I wanted to talk about is Sony. Here's a good chart of Sony. Anytime you're looking at relative strength index, it's not just a relative strength index you have to look at. What you want to do is you also want to take a look at where support and resistance is, because although the relative strength index gives a good idea of how price action is currently moving, it doesn't necessarily give you an idea of like where the specific resistance is. So on the chart of Sony, you've got this hidden trend line. So it connects this low pivot right here, stayed above. Once it got below, this was resistance. And so if Sony were to reattack this upsloping trend line from the underbelly, if it gets up to around $30.15, let's say just about $30, this would be a great shorting opportunity. It just surpassed all-time highs. Underbelly relative strength index, as you can see, is above the 70. So now it's giving you an indication that it's more overbought. The only thing you would want to worry about is when price consolidates and starts moving higher without much movement in the relative strength index. So if that starts happening, then you want to make sure that you're putting your stops in at any close above this trend line with a downside target of probably this gap fill at $26, and then even could go down as low as $25. So that's a couple things to think about when you guys are entering shorts. But if it does get up to this $30 level, this to me indicates that it would be a good shorting opportunity. Or if you're long, it's a great place to take profits. KLAC. Okay, so I often go over stocks that have been overly bought, right? So when you get above the 70, you've got a lot of buying pressure. And when you're getting over the 70 and staying there and above the 30, that's giving you an indication that there are a lot of buyers in that particular stock throughout that 20 or that daily period, right? So from basically 9:30 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. Now, once those sellers run out, it has an opportunity to flush it out. And so we've seen this time and time again. And I've gone over this on the show. On the other side, if you cannot recapture the 70 from the lows, that usually gives an indication that it's going to continue lower that same day. It's not the exact opposite reaction because there's still a lot of sellers, and the fear is a lot greater than the FOMO. And so when people start getting scared and start to flush out, the stocks start to flush out, then they start dumping their shares as well. So take a look at KLAC. KLAC today is signaling that it was oversold a lot of the day on Friday. And it's also signaling to me on the 1 minute chart that there's still maintained weakness. And so look for further downside. If you're looking to play KLAC for a long position, you would want to look for additional support levels. So your first support level is going to be at $870. the first level that I would really be interested is this low green bar pivot right here. So right now, $856.20 would be the first area of support that I would be interested in playing this for a long play. And again, this would be, because it's so close to the tops, this would not be a swing trade and look for 7 or 8%. This would be a day trade looking for 2 to 3% of a move. All right, so the last one that I want to go over is Reddit, and this will be our trade of the day. So here's a chart of Reddit. Reddit gave me the same relative strength index action, right? So you initially, the first part of the day, you had this great dip in the morning session. But then as soon as you got above this $238.45 level, put in a bull flag and then continue to move higher. Look at the relative strength index. It stayed above the 30, stayed between the 70 and the 30. And for me, this is an indication, as long as price action is heading higher, that there's going to be a further pop today. So look for a shortable level at $250.12. And again, we'd be looking for about a 3 to 5% pullback. Oh, let's actually go with a 2% pullback. So $5, $3 to $5 is what I'd be looking for as far as a pullback in the Reddit chart. So again, short level is $250.12 and a downside target of $245. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching me today on this happy Monday. So Gareth Soloway is going to go live here in less than 3 minutes. And please like, follow, subscribe, ring that bell so you can get notified when I go live every morning at 8:45. We'll see you guys next time in the charts. You guys have a great day. Take care.
Hey guys, Lawton here with Verified Investing, and today I'm here to talk about Kinesis.money, our sponsor. Thank you to Kinesis for sponsoring us. So Kinesis has this awesome thing called yields, in which you can literally earn gold by just performing different activities on their website and their platform. So the first way that you can earn on Kinesis.money is through their holders yield. So basically what that is if you buy some KAG or KAU from them, which is basically equivalent to gold or silver, they're one-to-one crypto equivalent of gold and silver, you're able to collect money from them, right? A percentage of all of the fees that Kinesis takes over transactions, over buying KAU, KAG, or anything else is distributed to people that hold on to KAG and KAU. So super cool. Now the velocity spending is also really cool. So if you spend KAU or KAG, you're actually going to get a percentage of all the fees. Again, this is of all the fees that Kinesis takes relative to how much you use Kinesis. So this is things from going to the grocery store and buying things on your Kinesis card. This are things like buying KAG, KAU, sending it to someone else. And finally, it's the same thing as trading on their platform, right? If you do any of those things, you qualify for this velocity yield. The next awesome way that you can earn with Kinesis is through the referrers yield. So if you refer any friends, family, you'll get a percentage of all of their transactions in perpetuity, which is super cool. They also have a partner for a program for partners and minters. But what I really want to focus on is this KBT, the most exciting part of Kinesis for me. 20% of all of the shares of all the transaction fees that happen on Kinesis are going to be distributed to holders of the KVT crypto token. There's a limited amount of crypto supply, but that's a really cool way to actually own part of Kinesis. You can get in on the ground level and just hold those tokens and collect a nice return. Thank you so much to Kinesis for sponsoring this video, and go check out their website at Kinesis.money.